Hey everybody, grab your Bible and a pencil and a journal and maybe even a cup of coffee and join in on the conversation. But first, I would like for you to write this down. James chapter 4, verse 8. Draw near to God and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded.
Hey everyone, welcome to Write This Down with Dot Bowen. My name is Cara. I am Dot's daughter, and every week we sit down together and we have a conversation about God's love, about the Bible, about what God might be teaching us, and we are continuing to talk about your questions. And if you've ever felt far away from God or wondered, how do I get closer to God, this episode is for you. So we would love for you to pull up a chair and join in our conversation.
Hey, Cara, I'm laughing right now.
I know, because why are we laughing?
I know.
James is not very funny.
Yes, he is. I love that boy.
Oh.
But I just laughing here because we always say, draw near to God and God draw near to you.
Yeah.
We do not say that the rest of that verse.
No.
Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded.
Yeah, that's why I was like, James is not beat around the bush, and he's not very funny. But
exactly.
Yeah, no, that we like to leave that part out.
Yeah, but I love it. But what's the question?
Yeah. So this question says, how do I stay close to God when I don't feel anything?
Yeah. And that was, the reason the verse, I was looking for the verse of what God would say.
Yeah.
God, how can she stay close to you if she don't feel anything? Or how can he or whoever wrote the question? And as I was thinking about that question and drawing to God, I think that's one of the things is we draw to him, he'll draw to us. So that brings a closeness, and that's a promise. And I think, a couple episodes ago, we talked about just believe that God says what he says is true, and God will do that. And so I think that if you draw near to him and he's promised, he'll draw near to you. But then at this end of the thing where it says, cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, I do feel that there's part of that of being able to feel close to God. And the question was, how can I feel like I'm close to God?
It says, how do I stay close to God when I don't feel anything?
Right.
Which I think is a very real, and probably someone who's been walking with the Lord for a while.
And we all,
because usually it's like you get past the honeymoon stage when it's like all new and you're excited. And then it's like you settle into life. And life can sometimes be mundane.
It is. And sometimes our walk and our prayer life, our, Christian life, which should be all part of life, not just when you go to church, but every day, your relationship with God sometimes gets a little boring or gets a little, dull, kind of, feeling like that.
You could get in a rut in a way.
Yes, that's right. And I think that's because a lot of times we do the same thing. We go to church, we read our Bible, we pray. And
I think that's just like life. Like sometimes,
I
don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not married, but I would imagine it's similar. If like you just you get into life, and every single day you don't wake up.
53 years ago, I feel so married.
Right. So I think that's part of it too, where it's just you kind of get into life, and I mean, this is like so silly, but it came to my mind. But I was telling you the other day, if you're like, what do you cook at home? And I was like, I don't really like. I feel like I'm in a rut, because I tend to do the same kind of things. And sometimes that's fine. But then I kind of just over it. It's just kind of like, so I think of that with this question where it's like, you just kind of you've been doing this for a while. And
right. And I think drawing near to him, I think there are ways that we can do that. For me, a lot of times when I'm feeling a little distant or feeling, a little separated from God, even though I know I'm not, because God said I wasn't, but I feel like he's distant or whatever. There are ways that I feel closer to God, whether it's praise music, sometimes with the praise music, sometimes going out, sometimes going to the beach. Not everybody can do that. I know you love the mountains. You feel close to God because you're in his creation. You're seeing it, watching a sunset. Well, God, you told that sunset, the sun to go down. You watch the ocean. God, you told the ocean to only go so far. So creation definitely makes you aware. Some people say higher power, whatever, but I believe it's God, the creator, because that's what he said, Genesis 1 and 2. But it says, how can I stay? And there are some ways that you can feel like that you're closer to God, or you're bringing back
it's intentionality. Intentionality. I can't say that word.
Yeah.
Being intentional. We'll just say that.
Right.
Yeah, because I think, again, if you're married, it's having, like date nights or doing stuff. It's like, okay, like let's do something that, let's go on a trip, or let's have let's do something
just get
different.
out of the house.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I feel the same way. Like, and I think a lot of times if I don't feel close to him, I stay close to him by just choosing to stay close to him. Like sometimes it's just that
it's so
choice.
Funny because I think about the word abide, abide in Christ. I almost read those verses because that's feeling close. Like you're just, you're abiding in him. And Jesus says, abide in me.
Yeah.
And you're the branch, I'm the vine. And I always think about if you go out and see fruit abiding on the tree, it's not struggling. It's just there. And it's just abiding, and it's just being at peace and being, content. But there are times that we have to make sure we do this little check. Mm-hmm. And that is to make sure that we're not doing anything. We're not in a willful sin. We're not in some kind of situation where we are disobeying God, that they're doing things. So that I was laughing because it says, cleanse your hands, you sinners, and, and don't purify your hearts, you double-minded. And I think sometimes we want God we want God plus. We want, we want to be close to God, but I want to live my own life. I want to feel close to God, but I want to make my own choices. I want to be close to God, but I don't want God to tell me what to do. And so I think that that's, maybe some of the feeling when you talk about feelings. Now, again, you can't trust your feelings. You go by faith, not feelings. Yeah. But there is a feeling. When you're in love with someone, that's a feeling. Yeah. So you can pay attention to the tension of in our hearts. Like, I just feel so distant.
Yeah. Like, is there something in your heart?
Is there something going on?
Or it could be, I think too, like asking God, like being like, one, is there something in my heart? But also too, like what would be exciting? And I think that like, sometimes I think we forget that I think God is fun because people are fun. People we have senses of humor. I think God.
And the children love Jesus, and they would not be attracted to.
And so I think that's part where it's like, what do you enjoy? Like, what are, like, is it hiking? Is it being outside? Yeah. Is it absolutely not hiking and sitting in air conditioning and just sitting on a porch? Or, maybe that's fun for someone. I don't know, but I think those kind of things too, where it's like, what do you enjoy? And meeting God, inviting God into that and like going and doing those things. And it could be, some people may be so extroverted where it could just be go get your nails done with some friends or something but in asking God, like to see God in that, you know what I mean? Like I think you don't want
to miss God in all of those things. And
because I think those will, and maybe that kind of experience can help, quiet times with the Lord, like, cause you've, like kind of using that to be like, oh, that was like, that brought me so much joy, and using like propelling that into your quiet moments with him as well.
Years ago, I think I've shared this before, and I know I've told you so many times, but years ago when I was studying Mary and Martha, and, Martha was so busy. She was just trying to take care of Jesus. She, he showed up with 12 people, so it's not like, they had small houses. So, and she was cooking, and I just remember, I'm not going to go into a deep study of that because I've already done that, but I just remember stepping back from that, from really studying it and stepping back and going, God, I don't want you to be in the room and I don't know it. I don't want you to be on a walk and I don't feel your presence. I don't want to be doing whatever I'm doing and I don't see. So I started praying, God, don't let me miss you. So it's been like a morning every day of God, today don't let me miss you in this. Yeah. And so a lot of times I get accused of over spiritualizing. I don't know what child would ever say that.
Never say that.
But don't over spiritualize that. And I remember, we went to see Little Mermaid.
I knew you were going to say this.
And you're all excited about Little Mermaid and want to dress up, and I'm like, honey, you can't change to please anybody. You just be who you are.
Movie. I mean, I'm like what 8, 5, 8, right. I don't know, like
But it was a biblical principle. But the thing,
it worked because I still. 30 years later or whatever, I still remember that you don't change for
somebody. You be who you are. You be faithful and be true to who you are and be content with who you are. But all
She
of
just wants
that
to be
is
part of this world.
I can, but I enjoy God because I see him all the time.
Yeah.
There are people that probably think I'm on the phone when I'm just talking to Jesus sitting next to me. So,
but how did you cultivate that?
I just started doing it. It says draw near to him. So I just started looking. So when I read that scripture about
so it can
Mary
be
and
as
Martha,
simple as that. It's just
choice.
Praying like draw, like help me to see you. It's not like you don't have to do. I mean, sometimes you can do things that help you.
You can't see God unless God opens it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you can do things that you might enjoy, but like he will open your eyes.
To see that. Yeah. And so if you desire it and you want it and you're like, God, I want to see you. I want to feel you. I want to know you're here. I don't want to miss you. He's not playing peekaboo here.
Yeah.
And hide and seek.
Well, yeah, because a lot of times it's like if you're waiting for a feeling, it's probably not going to come.
No.
Especially
But the feelings do come.
Yeah.
Once you begin to experience and enjoy his presence. But I do want to go back just a little bit because
to Mary Martha.
I don't want to miss. No, I want to go to Peter, believe it or not. And you're not that crazy about Peter, but I love Peter. Because
I don't dislike Peter. I just want to say that. But he's not my favorite disciple, but he is one of your, you like him.
I love Peter because I can relate. He can say too much to get his foot in his mouth.
I was going to say, I relate a lot to John.
Yeah.
Because I'm so loved.
Yeah. But you might want to humble yourself. But anyway, so back to Peter in the fact that Peter was so determined. Jesus, I'm going to go with you wherever you go. I'm going to follow you. Other people might fall away, but I'll never will. So he was really, really considering himself the fact that he was never going to deny or see Jesus. And Jesus like, really, Peter? Well, before tonight ends, you're going to deny me. And no way. And all we know that Peter did. But Jesus warned Peter. Not only did he tell Peter that night, you're going to deny me, basically saying to Peter, watch your heart because you're so prideful here. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you would do when you're in that situation. And so be very careful. So Jesus, knowing that Peter's going to deny him, gives Peter warnings. And he begins to say, watch your heart. Mm-hmm. Well, then they go into Gethsemane, starts to, he's praying. Jesus knows the cross is coming. He came for the cross, but he's like struggling. And he says to Peter, Peter, pray because Satan has asked to sift you. Now, he's already told him in the upper room, you're going to deny me. Now he's told him that he's already Satan's going to come after him. Mm-hmm. Peter sleeps and continues to sleep because Peter thinks he can't get that way. So what I want to say about this question, staying close to God and looking at God in every situation, you do want to step back and say, God, is there anything right now that I need to be aware of? Mm-hmm. Am I going in dangerous territory? Do I need to watch my boundaries?
Is there something in my heart?
Is there something in my heart that is going to come between me and you? We talked about, and I know people are tired of hearing it, and I'm tired of saying it, but I've had a rough, year of change, a lot of change, and everything's changed, and ministry's changed, and this has changed, and here we are, together. I love it, but it's different than we had, and just so many things of what I thought. I knew that God wanted me to teach, and I knew that God had done so much in my life that I could not tell it, but I was seeing there for about a year and a half, having to pull away from the teaching. And I just remember thinking, God, you've put me on a shelf. Yeah. Like, God, am I done? And I just kept praying that. But I didn't feel close to God. I was trying very hard. I never stopped. The habit that I got into was just get up very early and spend some time in praying. I never stopped that because I have such a habit of it, but I didn't feel it. There'd be times it'd be so early and I'd be so tired. I felt like sometimes Jesus would say, just go to bed. This conversation is not going well. You're not ready to hear from me. And so it started, it's that. But I kept doing it because I ignored the feeling and continued to do it. And over time, God began to continue to work in my heart in that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's choosing the discipline over the feeling. Right. I don't always feel like going to the gym, but I know that that's something I want to stay healthy. I want, I have goals. I want to commit, I've committed to myself of I want to And you do that. You
just
sometimes in our Bible reading, it's like I don't look at it like I have to do it in terms of a legalistic way, but it does help, to be like, okay, like I need, like I don't feel like reading Chronicles or, Ezekiel or, like there's some books that it's just like, I don't feel like reading
hard
them.
to get through.
But I think it reminds me of like love as a choice.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to choose not for the sake of so that I'm doing better or not so that God loves me more or whatever, but it's just, I'm going to choose to lean in.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose to do the discipline of waking up early or reading the Bible or listening to prayer, like whatever it is in your world. Like I don't have the discipline of, I do not wake up early at 4:30.
Yeah.
That's not part of, and it's not going to be. That's okay. But I think that's part of it.
And I think that choosing and saying, I'm choose to stay here. And you've told me this so many times, and we say this all the time, just stay in the room, stay in the fight. But I do think that it'd be wise not to be so scared that you're going to make a mistake. But I think it would be wise to just say, God, is there anything that come to? I do that with you. I do that with my kids. I do it. I say, are we okay? Things. It's okay to check in to make sure that, not to, think God's mad at me. I'm not walking around with shame and condemnation, but it's okay to check in with him and say, God, are we okay? Is there something that you're wanting to say to me? Is this distance or me feeling distant from you? Is this trying to get my attention?
Or, getting attention.
Or am I done something that is causing this this separation? Now, we don't lose our salvation, in my opinion. I think when Jesus said he saved me, nobody can pluck me out of his hand. He meant that. I don't think, but I do feel that sin, because it's, we know that sin can separate fellowship.
Yeah.
And that is true with everybody.
The discord.
Yes. It's like true with everybody. If we get in an argument about something, or, or you're not happy with me, or I'm not happy with you, at that moment, you're still my daughter. Yeah. But I'm irritated with you, or there's a distance between it.
I always think of it, I may have said this on here before, but I think of it when I'm having those moments with the Lord, like I could be hurt about something. I could be hurt with the Lord about something. I could be hurt just in general, or I could be upset. I don't know. There could be some kind of, maybe there's sin in my heart, whatever. I always think of it, visualize us sitting on the couch. And it's like, I'm choosing to sit next to you right now. I don't really want to
talk to you.
I want to talk to you right now. I will get there, but it's staying in the room.
I'm staying here.
I'm choosing to, it's the commitment. Yeah. I'm choosing to stay here. I may not feel close. We may, there could be, different layers to that, but I still want to choose to sit next to you, because even if I don't know what to say.
Even with Jesus, I think he's like, well, I'm glad you're going to choose to sit next to me because I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
And that is what I think is such a beautiful, unconditional love of no matter what. I've chosen you. I want you. I'm not leaving. And I think that when you begin to realize that, and you're not putting God on this, expectation of, I'm not good enough. I bet he's mad at me. Start reaping all these kind of thoughts in your head that you feel like God is mad at you, or, just waiting to, pounce you on the head to get you back in line. It's not that at all. You're not going to feel close to someone like that.
Yeah.
But if you know that they love you, and that they're not leaving the room, you'll stay in the room with them.
I just had the thought, like with the question of how do I stay close? And we've touched on this in a number of ways in our conversation, but it's like we don't have to stay close to him, like, because he's close to us.
Yeah.
I mean, we may need to be more intentional about it, and for us, like in our humanness and our feelings, but we don't have to, like, how do I stay close? You don't have to stay, like, he is close. Yeah. Like, you just rest, you just be, like, he is close to you. And I always think of there's a Psalm, I don't know where it is. I think it's like in the hundreds. I mean, I could try to find it, but there's so many Psalms.
150.
So I know it's like in the hundreds, low hundreds, but it talks about like the engraving on his hand. Like, he holds us so tight. It's like if you were to, have grip something and it kind of engraves on the palm of your hand, that's how close, we are, as if you've chosen to follow him as a child of God.
Yeah.
There's no striving in that. And so, yes, all the things that we're saying of like how can you experience, and
we're abiding. We're not sitting there struggling, just trying to be fruit.
Yeah.
are just trying to be a child of God. If you realize that and enter in that rest, I think that's where you would feel close.
Yeah. I think that, like, if you remind yourself of that truth, then like, all the other things that we're saying to experience them in terms of going for a walk or listening to worship music or prayer, or, you know, those things as well. But I think first is remembering, like, oh, wait, no, we are close. Yeah. Like, he is close to me.
I've heard this saying, and who knows who said it, but, you know, God's just a prayer away. And I think that's, you know, I remember you in Nashville and, you know, Christy in Alabama, and so, you know, like, they're just a phone call away, a text away. And even though you're distant as far, and God's up in heaven sitting on his throne, he's there, and he's just a prayer away. He's just a conversation away. And, you know,
that distance doesn't affect, we are just as close relationally.
Yes.
Even if we're not.
Right. And sometimes just knowing that makes us feel closer together. And I think that the fact of saying, how can I stay close when I don't feel it? There's a longing in your heart because you're a child of God. I want to feel that. I want to stay close to him. And I think that that's what drawing near to God means, is that it's going to start with the heart. It always starts with the heart. And if you want to stay close and you want to draw to him, and that's your heartbeat, he's in you and you're in him, and you don't have to worry about finding him somewhere. You may experience him or see his fingerprints and his creative work through creation and through different experiences and things like that. But he's there, he's in you, and he's very close to you. And he is probably the very one that gave you the desire to want to be close to him.